Kyoto Animation is my favorite studio. The immeasurable amount of heart that goes into refining the characters, animation, background art, sound design, music, voice acting, cinematography, every single meticulously placed detail serves to make what you're watching feel real. I can't help but feel immersed in their shows and see their characters as people rather than vehicles for the story. KyoAni is far from perfect, but their choice to highlight the beauty and eccentricities of the mundane really strikes me in a way that no other studio has. I've gotten into countless conflicts over KyoAni, with people who write them off as boring, moe, trash. Now I'm not saying you have to love this studio. If what they make doesn't speak to you, then it's not for you. Even I wasn't too convinced when I first discovered them. But just like coffee, it can be an acquired taste, attained by judging them based on their own merits, rather than preconceived notions. Now before I begin, I must preface this with a disclaimer that an anime should not be judged by its studio. It should be judged based on its staff members. Most studios hire freelancers from animators to writers to directors, so the quality of the shows produced may vary. However, KyoAni is an exception. All of their staff members are in-house and they even train new animators through their own school. This allows them to be more homogeneous and synergized in order to create works that can represent them as a studio. So without further ado, let me take you on a journey through some of my most memorable Kyoto Animation experiences. My god, Nichijou. Being my first KyoAni experience, I was absolutely blown away by the production value. Before this, I'd only seen conventional anime cater to the mainstream audience. Nichijou completely changed what I thought anime was capable of. As the adventures of 3 high school girls, a robot, and her professor are showcased, we witness the ridiculous hijinks that ensue in their lives. Something that stood out to me were the sequences in between chapters revealing the little snippets of life going on around them. The insanely over-the-top gags and stellar animation make it a masterpiece to be remembered. Nichijou showed me the fun and wacky world we live in, displaying how our lives are far from ordinary. Upon my first viewing of KyoAni, I reacted how most audiences would. What are these boring, blobby, toddler-looking anime girls doing on my screen? Then I proceeded to drop the show. Until one day, I had come across a 20-minute analysis video on KyoAni by Under the Scope. He explored how KyoAni breaks the conventions of coming-of-age stories, and revealed its touching, overarching themes that traverse the show's seemingly lackluster premise. Equipped with a new perspective, I began to adore the show by presenting high school through the lens of an optimistic young girl Yui as she attempts to find her place. I couldn't help but crack a smile through every episode. It almost felt wrong to enjoy watching these cute girls do cute things for hours on end. Its prevailing message being you can overcome any obstacle with the support of friends, do what you love, and cherish the present before it all comes to an end. Despite not quite finding my place in high school or making the most of my time, it provided me with enough escapism and happiness to get through my last angsty year of high school. KyoAni is charming, fun, and even profound at times. Definitely my favorite slice of life show of all time, and it will never cease to cheer me up.
イギリスもハワイもアメリカも温泉もみんな行けるよ。ああ、私たちどこだって行けるよ。うん、そうだな。
Hibike Euphonium wasn't a show that excited me upon first seeing. Yet it drew me in enough to continue. I couldn't quite put my finger on why at the time, but there was something about the way the characters spoke.
ね、どこに行く？私も当番があるから急ぎ足になっちゃうけど。
じゃあみどりちゃんおすすめの猫カフェ行こうよ。
It felt seamless and natural. Before I knew it, I was deeply invested in the characters. The scene where Kumiko cries,
上手くなりたい、上手くなりたい、上手くなりたい、上手くなりたい
deeply resonates with me as I, a mediocre animator at best, could relate to her frustrations and newfound resolve. The second season only reaffirmed my investment in the series as its complex characters and relationships were further explored. The confrontation with Asuka had me on the edge of my seat with its brilliant direction. Yoroizuka's reconciliation with Nozomi perfectly encapsulated the messy misunderstandings of high school drama. When Kumiko pours out her feelings to her sister, I was left bawling my eyes out. Having an older sibling myself in the same vein as Kumiko, I understood the everlasting impact they have and the bittersweet feeling of seeing them leave. Hibike Euphonium is yet another great coming-of-age story, showing how all you need to persevere your passions is to enjoy them, be in touch with your feelings, and live with no regrets. Although not one of the most popular or talked about shows, I found Amagi Brilliant Park to be really enjoyable. With a cast ranging from plushies to medieval creatures, Amagi Brilliant Park captures the magic of theme parks and gives us a fun, behind-the-scenes look at this goofy park. Despite there being an abundance of fan service, I found it only added to the enjoyment of the series, partly because I'm a teenage boy and think Sento is really hot. Even though the characters are these magical creatures, I still empathize with them through their very human issues and need for purpose. Every episode focused on developing each character bit by bit, revealing interesting and unique aspects about them. I was surprised at how diverse this ever-expanding cast of characters were. Amagi Brilliant Park succeeds in creating a wonderful and rich setting. Look up to the sky. It really is magic hour. A true KyoAni classic. The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya was a crazy, unexpected ride, filled with out-of-this-world characters and the queen herself, Haruhi. We run into many extraordinary adventures as we watch Kyon and the SOS Brigade grow from these experiences. Despite being very bratty, Haruhi was a charismatic and unique character that I hadn't quite seen before. I enjoyed seeing her gradually open up through her interactions with Kyon, as well as producing one of my favorite anime songs. I wasn't a big fan of the art style in the first season, but the second season reeled me back in. While not the most profound series, it was the movie that brings it full circle with an introspective look at Kyon and Nagato's character arcs. The film was a great send-off to the series, dissecting each character in a new way by putting them in a new setting. It seems to say that we should seek to live the adventurous life, away from the well-worn path. Even though our lives feel like they are filled with resentful, nebulous experiences, there's a lot of fun and wonder to be found by embracing them. As soon as you accept that, you can live a more appreciative and enriched life. Be thankful for the life you lead. Hyouka was a very unconventional show. The score sounded very eerie and unusual for a high school anime. They even solved extremely trivial mysteries, but it's all in service to better the story. The characters learn more about people and the world around them as well as themselves through these mysteries. The show is visually stunning, and the astounding layouts blow my mind as they animate characters from a bird's eye view and running from background to foreground. It's almost as if KyoAni is flexing how much time and effort they can put into their shows. As each character is explored and developed, it is amazing to see how complex they can be. A particular highlight of mine is seeing Oriki yelling for the first time during the cultural festival, actually taking part in something no one asked him to.
Huh? Satoshi! こっちに来い! 真下まで来い! 早く!
Hyouka is a fantastic character-driven show. It is immersive in its storytelling, and there are new details to discover every time. Being the anxious person I am, I see threats around every corner. So seeing a show that is the complete opposite to this mindset was wildly refreshing. Tamako Market presents one of the most comfortable worlds in anime that I'd love to live in. Tamako finds a friendly face around every corner in Usagiyama. Director Naoko Yamada was exceptional in creating a community of characters that felt believable. I adore the song Tamako's father sings in the 9th episode. Uncovering his relationship with Tamako's mother. And lucky me, as the sequel film Tamako Love Story focuses on fully realizing the relationship between Tamako and Mochizo.
Tamako!
Now instead of romance, it explores the growth of both characters. I found Mochizo's predicament to be very relatable. So with Mochizo's decision to study film in Tokyo contrasting against Tamako's path to be a mochi maker, Tamako seems to be at the edge of adulthood. Being the loving daughter of a mochi maker, she never questioned her future. Only when she starts reaching out to life's opportunities does she grow and forge her own path. You can't catch something unless you grab it with everything you've got. KyoAni presents yet another comfortable world in the form of found families. It gave me a happy place to escape to every week during my first semester of college. The show follows Kobayashi as she gets entangled with an estranged dragon lady who becomes her maid. These lonely characters find a kinship with each other, and more along the way. I loved every character interaction, and just seeing them live happily was more than enough for me. I particularly enjoyed Fafnir's relationship to Takia, especially the small caring gestures that Fafnir occasionally reveals.
手伝えタキヤ。ゲリライベントだ。回すぞ。
はいはい。
Each character has lost their sense of place, but through each other, they can rebuild that purpose. It goes to show how family isn't measured by blood. It can be those who you share an irreplaceable connection with. Someone who melts away your anxieties and loneliness. Someone who gives you a place to call home. So I first watched Koi no Katachi during a cyclone. Yeah. The city warned people to get off the streets, but no way was I gonna miss this film. Half the theater was empty from those who escaped to safety, but those who remained were dedicated weebs like me. I was reduced to a sobbing mess once the film ended. I had to hide my puffy eyes from my friends sitting next to me. Seeing Shoya shuffle through his school halls, I sank into my seat in awe. As someone who also has a tough time looking people in the eye and suffers from a bit of self-loathing, it chilled me to the bone. I was completely invested in Shoya's redemption. I wanted to see what it meant to make friends, to truly communicate your feelings, and to forgive yourself. Koi no Katachi taught me how to let go of my pain by simply listening to others, taking in their experiences and truly opening up to the world. And that, my friends, is the shape of voice. Naoko Yamada leaves her indelible touch on this adaptation, creating a film that ultimately says, It'll be okay. Now this brings me to KyoAni's newest installment, Violet Evergarden. Having been the first novel to ever win the grand prize at the Kyoto Animation Awards, my expectations were reasonably high going into this series. Containing animation quality and a line count far greater than any series put to television, my expectations were blown away by its sheer beauty. I adore Violet's earnest and naive personality. Elegant and diligent, she works her hardest to find the meaning of love. Honestly, a character I extremely admire and strive to be. I love watching Violet's growth through her understanding of others. Bit by bit, she becomes more human as she gets in touch with her feelings and inspires others to do the same. The direction is yet again on point, highlighting character motivations through great shots of small actions. Director Taichi Shidate and character designer Akiko Takase obsess over small nuanced details such as Violet's eyebrows to convey her inability to understand emotion. It's this attention to detail that makes Violet Evergarden so special to me. With only 8 episodes released as of making this video, the verdict is still out until we see how it ends. But it seems things are picking up and I couldn't be more excited. Violet Evergarden achieved a level of production that is literally making history in the anime industry, and it deserves every bit of recognition and respect. Kyoto Animation has greatly influenced my taste in anime and storytelling in general. Where once I enjoyed the blood-pumping action of anime, I now find solace in the introspective, character-driven ones. Their preference of storytelling is everything I wanted to get out of anime. Their amazing production schedule places them a cut above, placing Kyoto Animation among one of the best in the industry. In fact, KyoAni has had such an impact on me that I've made it my dream to work for them. Their school only hires people from the age of 18 to 25, as they want to nurture young talents. So it puts a tight time limit on my goal. I have 7 more years to fulfill this dream, or I will live the rest of my life in bitter regret. As of now, I'm a lazy art student making YouTube videos from his bedroom. Will I make it? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see.